Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop wedding photography video, I'll be showing you how to do a soft warm light effect. You can see it right over here. So here's the original, here's our soft warm light effect. It's a much more interesting image. A lot of stuff though to get to this point, a lot of little picky steps to go through start to finish. So I'll go ahead and we'll dig into this one, get a little more complex. There's a lot of little things we'll have to be doing to achieve this final look. Let's just hide that and I'll bring this up here to fit on screen. There we go. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to use the curves to adjust the picture, get the best look for the picture that you can. So we'll start off with image adjustments and curves. There's our curves control. You could do this on a layer if you want to, an adjustment layer if you want to, or right on the picture. This is doing it on the picture. And I'm bringing a little more contrast in here, bring the darks a little bit into the picture. Now what this is showing me here is the level of color in here, the values that my blackest blacks are on this side, my lightest whites are on this side. There's not a whole lot that's real white, not a whole lot that's real black. So these are the darks, these are the lights, these are the midtones. A lot of midtone stuff as you can see in here. Most of the picture is in the midtones. So add a little more punch to it by bringing up the darks a little bit. Bring the white in just a hair, like that. It kind of lightens up, brightens up the white in there. And then a good standard in here is to bring the shadows up a little bit and bring the highlights down just a little bit, just a hair, not much. Just a little bit. This is kind of an S-curve, real subtle S-curve look in here. So there's the before, there's the after. You can see it's not a whole lot of adjustment. It's already a pretty good picture. Just a little bit to make it just a little more contrasty. Okay, so that's our starting point. You know, whatever it takes to get the picture in the best state that you can, and I think just a little bit of curves adjustment will usually do the job, depending upon the quality of the image that you're starting off with. Okay, now that we are finished with that, we're going to begin getting into some trickier stuff. So we'll start with some layers. Let's start here with a layer and a fill layer. We'll go for a gradient fill. There we go. And I want to set this going from upper right hand corner. And let's reverse that. There we go. Upper right hand corner, bottom left hand corner. There's the angle. Let's kind of match that angle to the direction. And then what I want in here is to go from a red up here to clear down below. Now what this is doing is it's giving me the second option, which is always your foreground color to background color. So I need to change the gradient. So once you have the basic angle in here, click on the gradient itself. This brings up the gradient editor. The top are the transparency stops. That's where I want them. The bottom are the colors. What I care about is the color right down here. Click on that. You can then change your color here. Click on the color itself, and I'll just pull up into the upper right hand corner like that. And that gives me a nice bright red up in the upper right hand corner. And it's going to clear down below. So choose OK. So there we go. Pretty straightforward. You can see just bright red upper right hand corner down to clear bottom left hand corner. We now want to blend this into our image. So just have the red going into the image. So we're going to put a screen blending mode on this. Go to the blending modes and then scroll down to screen. and we just add the screen. And that gives us kind of our red up at this point. Now you can adjust any of these things. You can adjust them by adjusting the opacity and control how much of that effect is showing. So you can come in and fine-tune these layers once we're down towards the end of this. So I'll keep it at the top, then we'll fine-tune a little later on. Okay, that's step one. That brings in some of that warmth on the right-hand side. We're now going to do another gradient in here, in this case a gradient map. So back up to Layer and Adjustment Layers. Scroll down and there's the gradient map right there. Bring that up. Here we go. Here's our gradient map. Now on this case we want to go from red to black on our gradient map. So let's click in the gradient. Here's our colorations again. Click on the bottom left corner there. Let's set that to red. Click on the right corner and set that to black. There's the gradient map. This will be putting a lot of reds. You can see it's going to be putting reds into the shadow areas of the image. Close that out. Now we want to blend this with everything else. So back up to our blending modes and come down to soft light and blend that in. So that puts reds, as you can see here, we have reds going into the dark areas of the image. Adds red tones to the whole image. We want to bring the opacity down on this one. So not too much, it's just adding in warmth. There's without, there's at with. So we're just adding in some warmth into the whole picture with this one. There we go. I think I'll bring this down just a bit at this point. That's pretty good. So we've added in a lot of warmth here on the whole image, and then we've added in warmth into the shadows and the midtones here with the gradient map image. Okay, now let's begin to do some more fine-tuning adjustments on this, and we'll do another adjustment layer. Make sure you're on the top layer here. We're doing the layers from bottom to top, as you can see. So layer, new adjustment layer, and curves. There we go. Now with the curves, you have different channels that you can adjust. We're going to be adjusting our red and then the blue on this. So let's go to the red channel. There we are. This is our red channel. We can then bring down the output levels on this. Now we have our levels in here. And we also can adjust the overall curve there. Notice how as I do this, there's our basic curve, and this is just the red portion of that. What I want to do is I want to bring down or darken down the reds a bit. So the reds are still in the image. I'm just making the reds darker down here. Kind of brings our richness back here on the left-hand side. That's the reds. Let's now go to the green channel. Here's our green channel. Looks pretty good. I think I'll leave that as is. Let's next go to our blue channel, the bottom channel. And let's pull that in just a little bit, and you see what happens here is that warms up the dark parts of the image. Actually warms up the dark and dark midtones of the image, mostly over in this area here. We're seeing most of that effect. So there's with, without, and there it is with. So we're kind of easing back into our colors here by controlling how much of the colors are showing, and again mostly over here on this side. There you go, little curves adjustment. Just fine-tuning our image as we go. Okay, we now want to bring up the mid-tone levels on the overall image, so we'll do another adjustment layer. Layer, adjustment layer, levels. There we go. Here's our midtones. If I pull this to the right, it darkens down the midtones. Pull to the left, it lightens up the midtones. So you can use this to adjust the midtone values so that they're pleasing, you know, whatever it is that you want. I think this goes too light, that goes too dark. Just a little bit. Now 1 is where it was. You can see right down here, so number 1 is where we began. If I go just a bit to the left on that, it lightens everything up a little bit so we don't get too dark. Just a hair. Everything we're doing here, just little tweaks to bring in our full coloration. See, there's the original down there. We're putting a lot of warmth into this picture. Okay, now we're going to adjust the brightness and contrast for the overall image. Do another adjustment layer. Again, just a little tweak in here. Adjustment layer, brightness, contrast. There we go. Here's our brightness contrast filter. Let's bring our contrast up a little bit here. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. That looks pretty good. Just a bit of a contrast boost, and then you see the brightness is going to be mostly controlling our midtone, so bring the brightness down just a bit. And that brings back in some nice color values in here. You could, for this particular step, you could use the brightness or the levels or the curves on that. So there we go. There's that step, and we're looking pretty good at this point. Okay, now we need to get a little fancier in here again and bring some more coloration into our image. So we're going to be doing a solid color layer. Again, above this layer. Layer, fill layer, solid color, choose OK. In this case, I want to have kind of a medium red. Yeah, just kind of in here someplace. Kind of like that. And then we're going to be blending this into our image again. Go up to normal. And we're now doing a linear dodge, right here, linear dodge, add, and set this to 20%. So bring that way down to about 20% or so, you know, in that range. There we go. So there it is without. Here it is with. And again, kind of warms up the whole image. This adds a lot of a warm effect into our image. Okay, we're getting pretty close now. Now you want to brighten up the upper right-hand corner. So you have more of a glow happening up in this corner up here. So let's start off on this one with a new layer. A new layer button. There we go. And we want to be putting kind of a light yellow, tan kind of a color up here. You know, a real warm color. And it's up in that area. I also want to have a real large brush. We're just going to kind of tap it, you know, once or twice. So let's find our color. So come in here, kind of a nice light warm color in there someplace. I think that's pretty good. There we go. Go to our brush. I want a real large size brush on this one. We can do a softness on that, you know, hardness of 0. And let's just find a real large brush size. That looks pretty good. Bit too much. Yeah, a little more. Okay. I think that will work out for me. I'm just going to tap it right up here. There we go, just one tap, and it gives me kind of a light source up there now. A nice bright light source. It's on top of that red that we had in behind. That's kind of our warmth. You know, the warm light that's happening in the overall picture is from this section. Okay, we now can go ahead and screen this one as well. Normal screen, and then let's bring the opacity down so it blends in nicely. There we go. So it just adds a nice warmth up there. It takes away that red effect and brings back in some of that warm coloration. Okay, now you need to add in a lens flare in here, right up at that top right hand corner area, right up in here someplace. Just keep that in mind where you want to have that lens flare happening. So let's do a new layer. New layer button. There we go. Now to do a lens flare, you have to have something on your image or on that layer to work with. So I'm going to fill the layer with black. This is a solid black. I could have just done a new fill layer and done black, same thing. And that would have been, you know, layer, new fill layer, solid color, and then choose black. Just have a black layer. We now can do a lens flare on this one. The lens flare again, upper right hand corner there where that yellowish light is. Filter and render right there, and then lens flare. You have several options in lens flare. Let's first set the position. You can click in here and put the position where you want that to be. Upper right hand corner. You can actually drag it around, as you can see there. Right up there. And different types. You can adjust the brightness in here on that. A little brighter. That's pretty good. The nice thing about this one is if it doesn't work out, you can just do the layer again if you're not happy with it. There's no real good preview on this, unfortunately. It's just a bit of a try it, see how it looks technique. So you have the 500 to 3 or 50 to 300 zoom, 35 prime, 105 prime, the movie prime. I'll stick with the basic one, the 500 or the 50 to 300 zoom. Let's have some little dots down there. That's just going to add to the effect. Choose OK. There is that look. That's our lens flare look where our light was up here. Let's now blend this in with our picture again by using the screen. So normal and screen blends that into the picture. There's that nice bright light. So there's our light source coming in. See these little dots in here? That's from that lens flare, little lens flare happening down there. And there we go. That's the basic image. Now that we have everything done, all of our layers in here, as you can see, I'll just pull this open a little bit. All these layers, gradient fill, gradient map, curves, then levels, then brightness, just little tweaks in here. We can now come back and then retweak these to get just the look. I'm going to go ahead and go for the curves. Double click to bring your curves back up, and you can adjust your curves if you want to in here. And you can do this again on the individual channels. So I'm pulling the red in a little more this time. Looks good. Let's look at our blues. We'll leave the blues about where they were. That's good. Let's check our levels and look at our midtones. Just bringing a bit more contrast here by worrying about the darks and the midtones, kind of bringing some of the punch back into the picture again. And there we go. There is our soft light effect. As you can see, it took a lot of steps to get to this point, but the nice thing about this is that once you have all of these done, and they need to be in this sequence, you then can go back and tweak them to get just the look that you want. But we've added in a lot of warmth into the picture, a lot of color into the picture. We've given it a new light source up here and created what I think is a far more interesting look into the image by using this warm, soft light effect. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.